Welcome everyone to the Q&A session for our upcoming course, The Energy Codes Mastery Practicum, the 9-week journey to access your universal intelligence to navigate life's storms and create your own reality. I'm Lisa Von Ace, and I'm really looking forward to hosting this Q&A conversation for the Shift Network, where we'll explore the teachings of Dr. Sue Morter and address questions about her upcoming 9-week course, The Energy Codes Mastery Practicum, which begins Wednesday, September 16th. And a little later, I'll explain how you can participate in the course, even if you can't attend the live sessions. But first, I want to introduce our guest. Dr. Sue Morter is the #1 international best-selling author of The Energy Codes, the 7-step system to awaken your spirit, heal your body, and live your best life. She teaches the embodiment of high-frequency energy patterns to activate full human potential, and she's here with us today. I'd like to go ahead and welcome Dr. Sue, who's going to begin our time together by leading us in an opening meditation. Welcome, Dr. Sue. It's so great to spend time with you again.
It is my great pleasure, always, Lisa, to be here with the Shift. It is an amazing platform, an amazing forum for humanity around the world, and it is always a deep joy to work such beautiful conversations together with such beautiful people that end up showing up in the Shift courses. So my pleasure to be here. So welcome, everyone. It is a delight to be with you here today. I know this is an amazing time inside of humanity's experience, and oftentimes it is considered to be a turbulent time of stormy weather. And we certainly want to not only learn how to navigate the storm, but if I have my way with you, it will be an opportunity to show you that this is not a problem. It's actually a solution that is just waiting for us to show up to our greatness, to be able to recognize our creative capacity rather than learning how to live as a better reactor. This is really an opportunity in our lives to become the creator of our life experience, leading the way rather than looking for the way, generating the path rather than trying to find the path. So I'd like for us to just come together for a moment and find our way deep into the core of our being in such a fashion that we are ready to rock and roll today from a grounded and integrated space. So let's all just take a deep breath into our bellies. Not breathing in your upper chest, but breathing low in the belly. Big Buddha belly, big fat kettle belly here. And then exhale and pull your navel back to the spine. And inhale, draw breath in from overhead, as if you're receiving from overhead into the center of your brain, the center of your throat, the chest, the heart, into the belly, below the solar plexus. Big belly breath again. And exhale, let's just drop that down into the earth. Just surrender it to Mother Nature, Mother Earth. And a deep breath in from deep in the earth, from the heart of Mother Earth, up into our own belly. Stretch open the solar plexus. Inhale into the upper lobes of your lungs. Inhale bigger than the body. And exhale in every direction. In front of you, behind you, to the left and to the right. And now let's breathe in from every direction into the belly. Breathe into the solar plexus and stretch open the solar plexus. Inhale into the upper lobes of your lungs. Inhale bigger than the body. And exhale in every direction. And inhale from every direction into your belly. Stretch open the solar plexus. Breathe into the upper lobes of your lungs. Sip some more breath in and hold it in. Drop your shoulders. Lift your crown. Retract your jaw. Sip some more breath in. Lean back against your own spine on the inside and open up the channel that runs down vertically in your body. Sip some more breath in. Roll your eyes up. Exhale up through the center of your brain where you feel the tension behind your eyes and out the top of your head. Inhale all the way from overhead into the belly, down through the throat, through the heart, solar plexus to the belly, and exhale into the earth through your nose. Inhale up from the earth into your belly. Keep inhaling. Stretch open your solar plexus. Keep inhaling, upper lobes of the lungs. Inhale bigger than the body, and exhale in every direction. Inhale from every direction into your belly. And exhale into the earth beneath where you sit. Just slowly and gently breathe in your belly. In and out, connecting your belly to the belly of Mother Earth. As you're breathing this connection, belly to belly, heart to heart with Mother Earth, realize that there is a reason that we have gathered here in this moment. There is a divine purpose, a resonance, a vibrational coherence that has us seated here, holding each other's sacred company. And as the highest in you would have it, it is so that the soulful self version of you can have sacred space to emerge up and out to the surface of your skin, to the surface of your life. Continue to breathe from your belly to the belly of Mother Earth, from your heart to the heart of Mother Earth, drawing it up and down and up and down. Slow your breath in deep appreciation for having the ability to recognize this is my moment, and that is why I am here. This is my moment in time in my life experience to emerge, to surface, to awaken, to pull back together again the parts of me that have been dispersed, splatted. And in that dispersal, I have felt pain, discomfort, a dis-ease. I get caught up in the externalization of my power and the story of what is happening on the surface of life, of humanity. And now in this moment, I'm gathering back together. I call my mind back onto me, deep here in the core of this body. I call my breath to express me fully, freely, into every crevice of my body. For when body and mind and breath come together, the wholeness of the soulful self has an opportunity to reveal and to cultivate the life that it came here to have. I am by definition here to explore and express my wholeness. For there is nothing broken, nothing missing, nothing wrong. I simply have not been aware of the greatness of my being. So may this next hour shed light upon many facets of that as we begin a journey together. A deep breath in and exhale. Once more. A deep breath in, up from the earth. And exhale back to the earth. And last one. This time, deep breath in from overhead. Take a breath in through the center of your brain, through your throat, to your heart, to your belly. Drink it in and receive. And exhale, plant yourself here into the earth. As we begin. So let's open our eyes and come back into this place at the surface of life without taking attention off of this deep core channel that we've been activating to begin our most blessed conversation today. Let's see where we get to go. Lisa?
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Sue. You always create the nicest space for these kinds of conversations. And so, we'll have the rest of our time together to dive into questions that have come in for Dr. Sue as we prepare for her upcoming course, the Energy Codes Mastery Practicum, which begins Wednesday, September 16th. And if you want to check out the website, sort of follow along with us and learn more about the 9-week course, you can visit energycodesadvanced.com to see the full description. That's 3 words with no spaces. All right, so let's go ahead and get into some questions. We've got plenty already waiting for you. So let's start out with one from Diane, who says, Will building these new circuits help us establish an authentic relationship with the source of higher guidance?
Building these circuits absolutely creates a constant communication, connection with Source, because you actually are made of Source. You are that. We have a tendency to think that we're human beings that are trying to live here and connect to Source and receive and learn how to receive. But we are more than that. There is a part of us that is here being human and receiving the rest of who we are. The truth of us is we are made of Source, and we are here compressing ourselves into a funnel, into a channel, into a body as Source embodied. We are Source energy itself coming into form. We are formulating ourselves, materializing, manifesting ourselves. And so the energy codes are all about building the circuitry between this cosmic Source version of us, this physical manifested version of us that is already here, and the entire stream of consciousness that connects the two. So it's the equivalent of the observer, the observed, and the constant action of observing, or the creator, the creation, and the constant act of creating. These are principles that are based back as far as the history of consciousness as it is recorded. Those three elements are definitely the foundation of the energy code. So the short answer would be yes, this connects you to Source in an unwavering fashion, but it does more than that. It is going to teach you and remind you and allow you to experience yourself as all three: Source, that which has already manifested, and how I might continue to manifest more and more and more of myself here in this physical form. Let me just show you this little image that is such a beautiful depiction of this. This is what we would reference as Source, the unlimited, the infinite, the unified field, formulating itself into constant attributes like courage and forgiveness and compassion and generosity and adventure and creativity, etc. And we are gathering to a single point of consciousness, which is I am. And then we are compressing ourselves down through this channel into this earthly version of the energy being that we are. Full spectrum. The whole thing is involved. So the part of us that has already landed here looks up to connect with Source. That's a pretty common thing on any spiritual or personal development path. What I want everyone to recognize is there's a quantum flip waiting for you to take it. And it is that you do not identify with this that is seeking to receive this or guidance or help from this, but that you realize this is the truth of who you are. And this is a project that you are engaging in because you want to come down here onto Earth and roll yourself out through this body and out into the surface of life and bring the wholeness of your conscious being here so that you can have an experience of the wholeness of you, the truth of you. And the byproduct of that is we heal on every level in our lives. We heal ailments that exist because only a part of us was landing here. We heal parts of us on a physical, on a mental, on an emotional level that are byproducts of us not allowing the wholeness of our experience here. So when we're tight and contracted and compressed here, it doesn't allow for this vibration to fall in and to resonate. So we suffer. So the energy codes, as many of you have heard already about this, are all about integrating that. And in the course that is coming up, we're going to become quite masterful at that by activating a variety of new components within that system that allow us to open and receive the rest of who we are with grace and ease.
All right. Well, thank you for that demonstration and for that great image. That was very helpful. We've got a question here from Jaylyn who says, after going inside your body and doing breath work and circuit building, how long before we can expect a positive result inside our physical form?
Sure. Many people will experience things right away because the moment that energy is gathered, there is an exponential benefit experienced. So we live in a splatted and dispersed version of who we are. We are not constantly cultivating the power of 1,000 suns, which is actually what we are constructed of, as the Eastern culture would describe it for thousands of years. And so we don't get to experience our ability to change, to transmute, to reform our reality in an instant because we don't have enough power quickened and thickened and concentrated in this central core channel that we do so much work with cultivating and strengthening inside the Energy Codes programs. And so there is oftentimes a lesser response to everyone in every practice that they've ever tried, a slowed response time because the energy isn't gathered. And so it's not as powerful as it could be. Think of it like this. If you put your thumb over the end of a garden hose, okay, you're watering the flowers and you can't get the water over there to those flowers. So you put your thumb over the end of it and now the water goes further because we've closed down the aperture, the opening of the garden hose, and we are allowing for the same amount of energy, water, passing through it to now pick up potency because we're concentrating and focusing it. So a large part of what the Energy Codes is all about is teaching you how to focus the energy, aim it, and allow it to pierce through the veils and generate change. So as we're learning to do those and honing our ability to do those practices, we begin feeling results, responses almost instantly because that energy is influencing us on a very cellular level. And when our cells start to experience more vital force pouring through them, healing, a sense of well-being, a sense of groundedness, a lucidity about us, an ability to be clear and focusing and to begin again without begrudgingly holding on to some past experience. All of these things start to happen much more rapidly because we're gathering our resources back together again and making them potent and strong as they were originally designed to be functioning. But we kind of splat when we land here and we disperse our energies and then we grow up thinking that's who we are and that's all there is. And so it's with great joy that I share with people how to pull that back together again. And in this course, we're not only going to do that, we're going to refine the applications of that and find all kinds of life circumstances that will allow us to fire that focused energy right into them and allow things to open up and blossom inside of our life experience that have never had an opportunity to because they've been sitting there dormantly waiting for some vibrational match to wake them up.
Okay, thank you. Now, this is also leading into a question I'm getting from a few different people. They're wondering about whether this can work on long-term illnesses. What are the odds of actually getting something that's been around for a long time that hasn't been able to be cured? I mean, obviously, you can't make any promises, but in your experience, what can people expect?
Sure, great question. So let me see. I think I have a little poster here. One of the things that I use when I'm teaching. So here is an image of the brain, and the mind function is consciousness, subconscious, and the subconscious runs the body. So subconscious is in charge of healing, and if this system is operating the way that it's designed to be operating, we're in a constant state of healing. But sometimes this trap door between the conscious and the subconscious slams shut. And when it slams shut, it's because of overwhelm. We've had a physical injury or an emotional upset or both at the same time or this ongoing chronic issue, all of which has an impact on the whole system if this trap door slams shut. So here's what I want us to understand relative to this specific question. The subconscious runs your body. It runs your health. It runs your vitality. It's in charge of your ability to heal. And so if that trap door has been slammed shut, it seems like lots of time goes by and no healing happens. But I also want everyone to understand that the subconscious doesn't know about time. It's not subject to the laws of space and time, of here or there, or yesterday or now, or 20 years ago versus now. The subconscious only knows what is right here, vibrationally stored. And so once we open that trap door, in an instant, something that has been stored there for 20 years because the trap door has been shut for 20 years, because 20 years ago, something was overwhelming and slammed it shut. And now I've been able to be in a compromised state for 20 years, in which case, of course, my vitality, my ability to heal, my immunity, these types of recreations and renovations and rejuvenations don't happen when that trap door is slammed shut. So lots of time has gone by, and I have now this chronic condition that's been in existence. But if the trap for a long time, but if the trap door opens in an instant, new vibrational frequencies run through there. New neurosynapses are now be able to become active and alive, and the information that runs back and forth that ultimately results in healing in the body has an opportunity to do what it was built to do in the first place. So even if you've had something for a long time, it can begin to change in an instant as we get this trap door open. This course will be chock full of practices to open that trap door between the conscious and the subconscious so that they can communicate with each other, and also so that that superconscious, which we were looking at an image of just moments ago, can also rush down into this system and have its way with the whole program and allow it to be now creative instead of surviving in nature. And as a byproduct of that, the short answer is healing knows no time. As soon as conscious and subconscious are talking to each other, trapdoor is open, healing can happen literally in an instant. That is how spiritual healings happen. That is how something can occur and an individual is just, it's over, it's done. This issue that they've had for however long, it's just done in an instant. It is because the mechanism is what I was just sharing with you, with a little more detail around it, of course. But the short answer is very soon. Results can happen almost immediately. It just depends on how we tap the frequency to open the door. And we come at that from many, many different angles to ensure that it gets to happen.
All right, thank you for that. That was very helpful. Now, another thing we're getting a lot of people asking, because you've offered so many classes in the past. You've got Energy Codes 1, and then you're also doing Energy Codes 2 elsewhere, and then you've also got this one. So people are wondering, which one should I take? One person wants to do level 2, but also wants to take this class. Other people haven't taken any of your classes before. So let's talk about, are there prerequisites? What does anybody need to know in advance?
Sure. So part of the bonus program for this program is giving you, if you've not been in any of my courses before, no, it's not a problem. And we orchestrated it so that anyone could come in. And when you are plugging into this program, part of the bonus offering is that you get some materials that will catch you up to speed with the languaging and the basic principles, the foundations that you will need to be able to come into this course and flourish with it. I'm going to take you by the hand and make sure that we get in tandem, whether you're an old, this is old hat for you, that you've been in my programs before, you're going to get something out of it that you've never gotten before because of how we've orchestrated it. And if you've never been in the courses before, we're going to get you up to speed and on the same page right away in the course with constant learning and updating along the way. I'm aware of those possibilities of people coming from these various directions. And it's my intention to bridge this together because we're in a very important time in human history. And I want to support the development of our consciousness as creators instead of survivors now like never before. Because now is our time, our moment is upon us to benefit from the fact that the whole of humanity is in a bit of a wobble. And the fact that everyone is in a bit of a wobble, it has changed the bandwidth of human consciousness in an active way right now. And because of that change, what's happening is people are more aware. We're having to be more mindful. We're having to figure things out and be more creative. And so right now is a time where it has kind of softened the autopilot, that rote drone that humanity was in. Isn't possible right now because everyone doesn't know how to predict. We don't know what we can do in 2 months. Where everyone is right here in the now moment, just waiting and being available to see how we're going to navigate. So all of that is going to support you in your evolution and benefiting from this course. Whether you've been in lots and lots of courses with me before, this one is going to be very unique because our times are unique. And it is a very up to the moment. I'm going to be creating this as we go along, and over the course of the weeks that we're going to be teaching, even in that time frame, things are going to evolve and develop globally. And I'm going to speak to it every single time because that's how we learn that we are eternal and that we are unwavering and that we are absolute, regardless of what's happening in our external circumstances. Now, the other part of this question was level 2 or this course, this advanced course with the shift. And I want you to get that what I'm doing in this course is a lot of practices. It's going to be about how to, let's get in and do the work with it. With level 2, it's a deep study of the science and the research behind it in a very user-friendly way. But it's not like research, but it's a deeper study, which is it's a different approach. And I have lots of people that are taking both of them because they want to have the extra practice time that we're going to get in this course, and they want to have that deep understanding of the research that's behind it and the science that pulls science and spirituality together. Now, of course, I'm going to be explaining the things that we're going to be practicing here. It's just a deeper study over there in the level 2 deal if you're interested in that. But what I want you to understand is that you're tuning into the shift right now, and there's a reason that you're sitting right here, right now. And I would suggest that you plug into this one, whether you can do both of them or not, so that you get the experiential availability, which is why this course is set up the way that it is, because I'm trying to reach humanity in this now moment to make differences in their lives right now. So it will serve you in a great way to be able to walk out of this course at the end of it completely prepared to know yourself as a creative essence that is here to masterfully work with all of life in a self-supported way. That you see that the circumstances that are happening in your life are happening to your advantage. It's not something that you're here to have to survive. It's something that you are here to thrive because of, not in spite of, but because of what's happening, to work in tandem with the way things go. That is a promised relationship with the universe, and that's what we're here to awaken to. So hopefully that's helpful. I know it's there's a lot of coursework going on, and I want to tie it together for you and make it super easy, user-friendly, and clear so that you know that you're making great decisions for yourselves.
All right, thank you. And for those of you who are just joining us, we're here with Dr. Sue Morter, learning about her upcoming course, The Energy Codes Mastery Practicum, which begins Wednesday, September 16th. And you can log on to energycodesadvanced.com for all the details and to register. And while you're on the topic of what's going on these days, we do have a question that's just come in. What are your thoughts on COVID, this whole pandemic?
So I kind of was actually speaking to that just recently. You know, the energy codes are based upon some cosmic law, some universal principles that science is now proving, and that spirituality from its ancient origins, thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, the ancient writings of 10,000 years ago have always said that there is only one thing happening here, and it is expansion and illumination. And the more we are illuminated, the more we recognize that there's only one thing happening here, and it's in our favor. This one thing that is happening here is guidance. It's trying to draw us open and allow us to blossom into a greater understanding of reality. And so COVID, as well as every other pandemic that has occurred over the course of history, as well as every other crisis that has occurred over the course of history, is also subject to that law. It is part of something that is causing humanity to awaken. Perhaps we're awakening to the fact that we've been too dependent on the outside world to administer all kinds of salvation through the forms of medications that have actually ultimately left us a little bit disempowered. And perhaps it is because it's time for us to recognize that really, and even Louis Pasteur said this on his deathbed, that it isn't about the vitality of the bug, it's about the vitality of the host. That's what matters. It isn't about the potency of the bug, it's about the vitality of the host, the person. We have to remember that all viruses are opportunists, and they cannot create the environment that they need in order to survive. They have to find an environment that is already in trouble in order to thrive there. They thrive in an acidic condition that is actually a chemical balance that's threatening to humanity with or without the bug. And so we don't have to be afraid. We just have to be educated. We just have to become informed as to how to live in here internally in a way that allows for no one else to live here, no bug to live here, because I'm living here. And when I'm moving in and living in my own system the way that I'm designed to, my system becomes alkalized, energy is flowing and flushing and cleansing and rejuvenating and immune all the time. So it isn't about protecting ourselves. It's about thriving and living in our fullness. And when we are, the opportunist of a virus can have, zero impact on us. That's why, the flu goes around all the time, and one person gets sick and another person doesn't, but they were sitting in the same room, in the same workplace or in the same home all the time. The variety or the variation of that has to do with the vitality of one host to another to another. The energy codes is all about teaching you how to raise your vibrational frequency, integrate your chemistries, and allow that flowing, replenishing and rejuvenating energy that flows through your system like this constantly versus like this in a distorted fashion because of a wobble that is rising up through your system. We're clarifying and perfecting that energy field flow all the time with this work. So my feelings about the pandemic are what my feelings are about everything. There is no exception to this law. Everything that is happening in your life is supposed to be serving you and awakening you to your power and to your magnificence. And if you haven't learned how to interpret the things that are occurring in your life from that perspective, then you need to be in this course so that you can, so that you can learn, so that I can logically explain for you how that works and how you can look into every scenario in your life and see that it's actually calling you to reach inside yourself and find some part of you that you didn't even know you had and let it reveal out into your life. Because why on earth would you incarnate and come here only to be beaten up by the environment that you landed in? It's literally an impossibility electromagnetically and the laws of quantum science. Do not let that be real. However, if we're stuck in a limited version of who we think we are and we're living life from the outside in instead of from the inside out, we get caught up in that story. And so we get afraid, and the pandemic news comes across, and there are all kinds of political circumstances where people are blaming people about the origins of this or about the falsity of it or the reality of it. And I say, let's just suspend all of that drama conversation, drop in here and create the healthiest, most vital, strong, and generative environment that we possibly can and what we were born to do. And then the drama of the story around us doesn't really matter as much because we are inherently immune as we metabolize life rather than it metabolizing us. That's how we're designed to be living. And these are the principles of the energy codes that I would love for every human being on earth to recognize. I had the great honor of growing up with this truth, so it's what I know. I've never been to the doctor to take an antibiotic or taken medications to heal from anything or to prevent something. I was given a mumps vaccination when I was a child, and the vaccine was bad. I got an infection that was huge, and my parents never did any kind of vaccinating thereafter. My father became very much a pioneer in energy medicine, and so I've grown up knowing the principles that the body contains to reveal as a healthy, vital source on this planet. So if pandemic and COVID is a fear, element in your life right now, I would suggest that you educate yourselves not only on how to protect yourself, but even more importantly, educate yourselves on how to recognize who you really are and what the pecking order is here in the reality of humanity versus virus versus, pandemic. It is here to awaken us to a greater version of who we have always been, but have not been called to awaken to until now. So there's my long answer about what's going on in this world. I would love for you to know that this is happening for you. It isn't happening to you.
All right. Now that, once again, leads perfectly into a similarly based question. COVID weight. Kim in particular is saying, my eating patterns are out of control right now. And I know it's much deeper than my eating habits. I can't seem to focus on important matters in my life. And I've got questions from other people saying, what can I do about this weight that I've gained since we've been locked down?
Okay, so there are a couple of things. This is really an amazing thing. If you look at this from this bird's eye view that I'm referencing here, you'll also, this will also make some sense. Every time someone is about to anchor a new version of themselves, there's an expansion that happens just before that. So you're thinking, oh, I got the expansion part down. It's happening in every direction right here. So here's the deal. The universe is pulsating like this. It expands and then it anchors or contracts. But the contraction isn't a contraction. It's an anchoring. It's a seating of it. And then it expands and then it anchors. And then it expands and then it anchors. And then it expands and then it anchors. everything is always expanding. The universe is expanding, and that's the way it does it. It does it in this pulsating kind of way. So I'm going to teach you how to get in tandem with that pulsation and to recognize what's happening in your life that is a byproduct of either an expansive phase or an anchoring phase. Humanity at large right now, whether they know it or not, whether they're attracted to a conversation like this or not, or they're out doing something totally different right now, oblivious to the idea that this is a wake-up call for us and that we can actually harness this power that's happening and get in a trusted relationship with the universe and have our lives unfold beautifully. You are here now for that reason. So here's what I know. You are in an expansive state. So when we're in an expansive state, there's all kinds of energy inside of that. And we don't know what to do with that energy, so we start reaching for the refrigerator or for something. We reach for food oftentimes because food will anchor and ground us. And so we're in a natural expansive state. No one has taught us what to do with that expansiveness. The expansiveness is upon us because of what I said earlier. It's because people don't get to walk around, numbed out and on autopilot. Everybody's like perked up and looking around and listening to the news and trying to figure out what are we going to do and how are we going to manage this. And so people are in their creativity, albeit by default, we're there. So when humanity at large is in this expansive state, you bet human consciousness is going to expand. The whole bandwidth that we're living in is expanding. It's opening. So in that openness, it frees up a lot of energy inside of our system that's been being compressed for a long, long time, generations, thousands of years. So now it's starting to open and it's starting to move. And if we don't know what to do with that energy that we feel, we start reaching for something to anchor and to ground us. Because every time there's an expansion, there's an anchoring and an expansion and an anchoring. So inside this course, I'm going to show you, session by session by session, what it is that we can do to anchor those energies consciously and intentionally so that we're not attracted to these unconscious efforts to ground ourselves so that we stop eating so much. And you watch, the pounds will come down and you will have a vital force running through your body that you haven't felt maybe ever because of the circumstances that are upon us. And now the new techniques that we're going to be utilizing, some of which I've pulled together particularly, specifically for this program. So I'm going to be teaching you some things in this program, even if you've taken lots of courses with me, that you've never learned before, because I have found since COVID that there are new ways of working with energy that are serving people that we didn't know were necessary or helpful before. And I've been having wonderful results with people because of this, necessity is the mother of invention, right? So we're needing to correlate and work with these faculties that we have in new ways. So don't worry about the poundage. It's part of your expansiveness, but I'm going to teach you how to anchor and ground in other ways so that, it doesn't take 20 trips to the refrigerator to figure out who you are in the course of a day. Okay. So help is on the way. Help is on the way. That's fun. Fun question.
That's good to know, because I don't know about anybody else, but I'm living in pajama pants right now. So
pajama pants. One of the things we have to do, Lisa, is you got to get up and put on the clothes you were wearing 6 months ago. And if you can't fit in them, you walk around in pain for a couple minutes every day, and then you take them off, and then you put on your pajama pants. And every day you get down, you find if somebody comes into this course, we're going to do that. I'm just making this up right now. We're going to do this along the way. We're going to make sure that we compact a little bit more throughout the course of this program. I'll set up exercises that we can do together, because it's so much more fun to do things with a group that's supporting you from around the world than to feel like, I'm on my own. I got to figure out how to do this. So we'll be providing that support for you. Okay. I'm going to make a note right now that that's going to be included in our regular session conversation.
All right. Perfect.
Okay.
We'll talk about Man. All right. I'm looking at the clock here. We have time for a couple more questions, but before we take those, I'm going to go ahead and give a few details about the course because, of course, we have questions about that as well. And this is going to be really a fun and fascinating and powerful 9-week journey with Dr. Sue under her expert guidance, where you'll step into your truth as a multidimensional energetic being who's co-creating the life and future you want. And the 9-week course takes place on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific, beginning Wednesday, September 16th. And as I mentioned earlier, if you can't join us live, that's fine. You won't miss any of the teachings. You'll receive audio and video recordings, transcripts, and all course handouts will be located on your course homepage, and you get to keep them forever. It's not just for the time of while the course is live. I'd like to remind everyone that we offer a no-risk money-back guarantee on our courses, giving you a full 2 weeks until September 30th. In this case, to make sure that it's a good fit, we want you to be happy. And as an added option, all participants are welcome to connect in a private Facebook community group so you can connect with one another. Also, everyone who registers receives the Energy Codes Mastery Practicum bonus collection. This is the fun stuff. First, this is what Dr. Sue was talking about earlier. You'll receive a package of tools from Dr. Sue entitled The Energy Codes Essentials, and that'll catch you right up. Next, you'll get an audio teaching with a PDF workbook from Dr. Sue called Front Side, Backside, Awaken the Creator Within. And then you'll receive an audio teaching with a PDF workbook from Dr. Sue entitled The Bus Stop Conversation, Soul Contracts and Life Purpose. And you'll also get a video masterclass from Dr. Sue called Choosing Every Moment for the Highest. And when you register by midnight Pacific on Wednesday, September 9th, you'll receive this extra gift. That is an audio dialogue with Dr. Sue and Dondi Dolan entitled Quantum Healing with Energy Medicine. So, Dr. Sue, before we get back into questions, I know that this is a new and exciting course for you. What are you most looking forward to sharing in this course?
Oh, wow, Lisa. I think I mentioned a couple of times already that it's going to be very relevant to our now moment. And I'm always very excited about that because there's so much creative energy available to us right now. So we're going to work immediately with connecting with the master code, this signature vibration that is our true self, and getting to know what that feels like so that nothing gets to pull us off of that, period. When this comes up, when that comes up, when we see this on the news, when this happens at work or whatever, when this happens inside of our own thoughts, that I keep returning until I never leave this master code, this master signature of this soulful self. So I love that. And we're going to go straight in after that to activating the third eye to access our multidimensionality. We're going to be working with things that are designed to bring up this power of 1,000 suns that our solar plexus is made of, melting life with this power that resides deep in our core, and also tapping the vagus nerve and allowing and enhancing its flow of upcoming information that rises up to the brain. Billions of bits of information are coming from the cosmos and landing on our energy field every millisecond, and they arrive at the gut. And we're going to learn how to literally work with those energies and receive until we perceive what they are, what the quality of those energies are, so that what occurs in our minds are more proactive ways of thinking and perceiving, rather than just being stuck at the primitive brain where we get obsessed with surviving and protecting and guarding. But we can survive and protect and guard ourselves right into a corner that isn't very fun. We're safe, but nobody gets to come or go. We don't get to see anybody all day long if we're obsessed with protecting ourselves. So we clearly have to define another way of perceiving who we are if we're going to be free to come out into the world again. So I'm also thrilled about cultivating the vagus nerve and the essence of how to sense and feel those aspects of who we are. We're going to be also learning to aim the magnifier, our manifester, bringing the mind and our throat chakra manifesting qualities and aligning them together so that we can literally aim our power in certain directions. I do this all the time. I'm going to be sharing with everyone the practices that I am doing right now in my life. And there is so much more creative energy, which I didn't even think was possible, pouring down into my system since this awakening that I had 20 years ago. I've constantly been downloading more and more and more of this to the version of me that resides here and talks to you. And because of what's happening in the world right now, I am unattaching from so many things, and so much more creative energy is here. And I want to share with everyone the practices that I am doing right now that allow me to aim and manifest in ways that I, in my heart of hearts, have always known were possible. And now they're literally unfolding experientially, vibrationally, mentally, emotionally, physically. Definitely the spiritual expression of my purpose on the planet is expansively unfolding right now. And I will love sharing that with everyone along. I could go on and on, Lisa. I can keep going if you want me to. I don't even know how to limit it. I also want people to know that their vulnerability that they're feeling right now is actually their availability. And availability equals power. So when I'm available, truly here in the present moment, when I'm here in this now moment, I am invincible. It's when I'm projecting myself into the future or clinging to the past or the story that I've written about who I am and how life needs to go in order for me to feel okay. When I'm hooked into all that, I'm not available. And so I'm not empowered. I'm not empowered. So I want people to realize that the vulnerability that they are feeling right now, like, how's it going to go? I don't really know if I can do that or if I can commit to that because, I don't know how things are going to be. I want people to realize that that's part of the story that ripples through our lives. And there's a version of us underneath that story that if we grab a hold of that and take a stand for that and walk straight into our dreams and our desires, that something fillets open, and it's as if the parting of the Red Sea, it's the parting of the head sea. It's the parting of the doubting mind that happens. This living in our heads has got to stop, and we have to cut a swath through that and let something else rise from inside of us that has been waiting our whole lives to do so. So this is where I'm taking people inside this course, and it's going to be, one session after another, building on each other. Whether you can join us live or you watch the recordings and catch it later, the energy is inside of every session. So no matter when you're watching it, you're going to be receiving transmissions. You're going to be becoming educated on an intellectual level, and most importantly, as we've mentioned, there's going to be a lot of experiential activity in this one, because I know that knowing and experiencing come together beautifully. If I can experience it, I own it. Instead of having it roll around in my head as a theory, I want to know at the cellular level, oh, this is what she's talking about. I get the feeling of it. Now I can be this when I'm on the session and in between the sessions and forever after the sessions. So we're going to basically be aligning a streaming of the I am presence so that it isn't two separate worlds where I am this separate human being who keeps calling upon its higher self. Those days are over. Those days aren't serving us anymore. They served us tremendously for decades, but it's time for us to listen to what the Christed being said and what the Buddha said. The Christed being said, you can do all this and more, that you could do all this and more. And the Buddha said, anyone can be Buddha. And it's time for us to accept that invitation and do something with it. The greatest way to honor it is to believe it and to act as though it's true for us. And when we do that, we start to build the circuits for living into that. And it changes it from being a theory to you cultivating yourself as conscious cosmic intelligence that is here on this planet to make a difference. And I want to gather a conscious community around that is out there in the world serving other people just by the emanation that's coming off of you because of the vibrational frequency that we're cultivating. So that takes us about halfway through the course, and there's more. But I don't know how much time we have. It's a beautiful moment in time to really harness the deep truth of who we truly are. And I so look forward to lots and lots of practical application of that so that your cells get to remember who they are and why they came.
All right, powerfully stated. Thank you for that. Let's get this next question in here. This is an anonymous question, and you'll understand why in a second. What is your opinion about addiction and drinking? Is it to escape, or is it avoiding pain or avoiding reality? What are your thoughts, and how can this person stop drinking?
Yeah, beautiful question, and thank you for asking it. I also want to say that by asking the question, you're in the arena where this can shift. The person who isn't asking the question because they're not aware that this has gotten out of, alignment in their lives is it's trouble when we're not even aware. And once we start asking the questions, its days are numbered. The addiction's days are numbered if we're onto it. If our awareness has landed onto the fact that there's a distortion happening in my field, and it's causing me to want to seek some solution that mimics what I would be feeling if I were fully integrated, which is why the energy codes is all about integration. I'm here to integrate people to I'm not going to do it. I'm going to teach you how to do it. And that is what I love about it, that everyone has the capacity to do this. So let me just explain a little bit about addiction and what's going on there. I held this up earlier. This is the perfected field, the way energy is supposed to flow down through the body, hits the earth, rises up, and cycles around and around, and it's constantly animating all of these levels of consciousness that are referenced as chakras. Those are levels of consciousness. Aspects of your wholeness are housed inside of these areas. And so if our circuitry is in place, we get to cultivate all of that, and it acts as a filtering system so that this cosmic universal intelligence gets filtered down into effective and usable images and ideas and imaginations and projects and innovations and creativities. Okay, so here's what happens in our world, particularly with addiction. I'm going to speak about it, that we have certain circuits in place and certain circuits that are not in place. And so you can see this distorted energy field here that is kind of in this wobble here instead of perfect and symmetrical as this one is. Okay, so this energy is moving around, following the path of least resistance. And when it moves around the solar plexus and doesn't go through it, we become disempowered. And then we seek the power that is designed to be feeling the power of the heart, the power of love. The solar plexus is supposed to fuel the power of love in our lives. And when we circumvent the solar plexus in a way that we don't even know we're doing because we were disempowered early on, or we came into this life to learn how to empower ourselves. So we came in with it more asleep than it because it's now time to awaken it in our lives, perhaps for the first time. So when this is being circumvented, it creates a wobble. And this wobble creates this distortion. And now this individual is inside this field looking out through a distorted field. And looking out through that distorted field causes one to affirm or confirm that they're not worthy and that they're not enough, etc. All of which creates a vibrational frequency inside the body that is lacking, meaning you don't get to experience your greatness and your certainty and your clarity and your love. And so that leaves you with a vibrational frequency that is dulled or that is lesser than it could be. And so then we reach for stimulants, even if it's ultimately a suppressant. Initially, it gives us this hit that causes a different sensation in the body. So whether we lean for drinking, or we lean for drugs, or we lean for gambling, or we lean for sexual addiction, or we lean toward over shopping or overeating, it's all because we're after that shot of adrenaline or a shot of other chemistries that are being generated. And those chemistries that are being compensatorily generated as a compensation for not being, aligned, those are a cheap imitation of what one would be feeling if their energies were fully integrated. But because it's a close and yet cheap imitation, some of it's not so cheap expensively, rather, we can spend a lot of money on our addictions. But it's a half-hearted imitation of what it could be. So we keep reaching for it because we keep trying to hit that vibration of satiation. Now, when we work with the energy codes, we're cultivating the true and natural state of satiation that we are built to be. that we truly are. And we do or we do not have awareness of it. That's the key. So we're building our awareness of this true vibrational frequency. And the byproduct of that is these addictions become less attractive because our vibrational frequency is changing. And as our vibrational frequency changes, we can look at the things that we used to be addicted to and not need to go there because we feel fulfilled. So the image of it doesn't elicit the same response inside of us, and we can take it or leave it. And in that moment, a greater sense of empowerment has established itself. And we walk forward mastering the circumstance because we are satiated, because the energetic is there. We have to remember that everything is energy. And we have all the energy that we need, of all the different types of energies that we need to navigate this life in a most magnificent and beautiful way. And as we begin to master our awareness of those energies, everything changes. Everything changes. The only thing that has ever been missing is your awareness of your own enlightenment, your awareness of your own magnificence, your awareness of your own creative capacity as source. You are source. So we're here to develop our awareness. With the energy codes, we're building the ability to sense and feel these truths that I'm talking about. Because when you can sense and feel them with your sensory nervous system registers that in memory, and then another time and another time and another time with all of the practices that we are doing. And you build up evidence at the subconscious level that keeps that trap door open and allows healing and, generosity of spirit and a vibrational match to your leadership in your life to embody, to occur. And that's what we're after. We're after being aware of how great we really are. We don't want to wait until some point later when we get to heaven and we get to experience this blissful state of, ananda. And, we've misinterpreted what was supposed to be being gifted to us as a user manual in all of the sacred texts. The sacred texts are trying to tell us that heaven is at hand. It's right here, right now. And we have not mastered our ability to move from being in the confines of our own mental bodies, stuck in our solar plexus, rising up through our heart, rising up through our ability to manifest divinely, transcend our primitive brain, arrive at the promised land, which is here in this cave of Brahma in the center of the brain, where our creatorship is sitting and just waiting for enough juice under its feet, under its keister to rise and express in the world. We get stuck at the primitive brain level where we're constantly worrying and fighting and fretting and resisting and digging our heels in and arguing for our smallness and our limitations all the time with the stories that we write, the things that we tell ourselves. So we're here to unpack that and to let it reveal. So hopefully that's helpful. Addiction will be served by this. It has helped way too many people for me to doubt that it couldn't help you too, Anonymous. So we're here for you.
Okay, thank you so much for addressing that. Well, I'm looking at the clock. We're about out of time. This has been just a fantastic conversation. I want to thank everyone for submitting their questions. Once again, the Energy Codes Mastery Practicum begins Wednesday, September 16th. And again, you can visit energycodesadvanced.com to learn more and to register. So, Dr. Sue, before we cut you loose, do you have any final words for our viewers?
Oh, yeah, there's nothing broken. There's nothing missing. There's nothing wrong, even now, even in this pandemic. And it is simply a matter of us learning a new perspective, climbing up and seeing the bird's eye view on why this is happening in our lives and how it's actually going to serve us. And so I look forward to offering you lots of sacred space to toss these ideas around, to interact with Q&A with you, to engage in the level of this big truth that's going to work for you, and make it super user-friendly with lots and lots of practice. So I look forward to taking you by the hand and walking you every step of the way right through these modules. It's going to be a deeply meaningful time in your lives. So I look forward to connecting with you in just a few days. So much love to you all.
All right. And thank you again, Dr. Sue Morter. It's been such a pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you for being here with us.
My pleasure, Lisa. Thank you. Thank you for all the work that you're doing and that the Shift is providing for humanity around the world. It's such important work, and I'm honored to be a part of it.
Absolutely. And once again, I want to thank everyone who joined us today. On behalf of all of us at the Shift Network, I wish you well and look forward to having you on this course or perhaps another one in the future. Have a great day, everyone.